Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Christian. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day, good night, wherever you are, whenever you're seeing this, I hope you are good. So guys, today we're going to be talking about outgrowing friendships and all things that fall under outgrowing friendships, what that means, how we can step into better relationships that are going to serve us much better in the future, and all of that and then some, okay? It's going to be a lot that we're going to get into. I'm going to just be chit-chatting about a couple of different things that all fall under outgrowing relationships and friendships. So let's just go ahead and get into it. If you guys are interested in booking with me, getting a self-led tarot course, a releasing session, 30-minute session, 60-minute session, whatever you want to tap into, the mentorships as well are available. You can work one-on-one with me for 4 weeks or 8 weeks, whatever you're interested in. Tap down below in the description box to get into the website and see where you can tap in. Also, if you guys are interested in shopping Pixie Apothecary, all of the herbal products are available. The pre-rolls, the blends, the teas, the bath salts, the crystal jewelry, and there's going to be some new crystal pieces dropping very, very soon on Pixie Apothecary, so stay tuned. But yes, if you guys want to shop with me, book with me, you can connect with all of that in the description box as always. But let's go ahead and get into today's video, guys. So I believe that this was a question that you guys had brought up to me before, but I feel like I keep hearing about outgrowing long-term friendships, or when you have long relationships, breaking away from those friendships, and how can we deal with that? And we're specifically talking about friendships. I know I mentioned relationships a couple minutes ago, but this is friendships, okay? Just platonic relationships, because that's the focus right now. I feel like we see our romantic and platonic relationships so differently. And because our platonic relationships are void of romance, I feel like it just gets lumped into the family category, where people have watched you grow up. You know these people, you know your deepest, darkest secrets. You can be so open and so freeing with them. Romance is a great thing. Intimacy is a great thing. But a lot of times the obligation of a romantic or intimate relationship can kind of make it difficult to fully enjoy someone, That's why a lot of people say, oh, we're so much better off as friends, because sometimes that romance can, make it difficult for you to really just see someone as a friend. That's why we always say in relationships, you want to make sure you're a friend with somebody first. So we know that friendship breakups are the real breakups. It's not about losing a romance. You can find romance anywhere. It's about losing a friend, losing the person that you spend so much time with. And I think we've been experiencing this a lot. Just in general in life. I think if you're growing and elevating, it's only natural that you're going to outgrow your environment. The people in our life are just like our jobs, certain situations, certain habits, even certain clothes, honey. Sometimes you're going to outgrow these things. So first I want to talk about why it's such a big deal to us that we outgrow certain friendships and why it shouldn't be. Y'all know I had to start there, because a lot of these friendships, like I mentioned in one of my past videos, a lot of times we form these long, decade plus long friendships out of proximity and things that really don't matter. Just because you went to the same elementary school with someone and y'all just happen to be in the same class doesn't mean that y'all are going to have the same values and life goals 25 years down the line. Just because you grew up with someone, you have so much history with them because of, maybe being on the same dance team or living on the same block, going to the same church, these things, even though they're great commonalities to have, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to align with someone. And once upon a time, forever ago, you could just make a bestie based on both of y'all liking the color pink, or both of y'all having the same kind of Bratz lunchbox, you know what I'm saying? But those days are long gone. We can't just form relationships based off having the same aesthetic, liking the same things, both liking Twilight or both liking B5, I remember forming connections with people over the most menial things. And that's the beautiful thing about life, that we can make connections off of things that are so casual and so lighthearted and fun. But sometimes a connection is just supposed to be that. Just because you like the same band as somebody doesn't mean that y'all have to be connected at the hip now for 30 plus years. Like sometimes a commonality is just that. Sometimes those shared characteristics are just that. It might not necessarily be the foundation that you needed to build a 10-year relationship, but you did it anyway, because maybe you weren't as well versed as you are now. Also, we have to remember that when you lose friendships that you've had for a really, really long time, the person that you are today isn't who signed up for that friendship or who stepped into that friendship. The person you were when you first started and first met that person, that is who you really need to have a conversation with, because I guarantee you there were certain differences in that person that you saw along the way, certain differences that you recognized when you guys first met up, that, maybe you were like, oh, this person always does this, or they always do this. Like, you think that this is just a character about this person, like, oh, this is just how they are. And in reality, it was a big, big, big red flag for you. But because your boundaries weren't that strong 10 years ago, maybe the red flag wasn't super, super strong. Like, if you're driving on a road and you're super, super vigilant of everything that you see, you're not going to miss anything. But if you're driving on a road and you're just like, la, 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 you'll be like, oh, child, I ain't even noticed nothing, because you're not paying attention. It's like, when you're protecting yourself differently, you have different boundaries, different standards for yourself. Of course, the things in your life are going to be under a lot more scrutiny. And we can say for a Fendi fact, if you've been growing or changing in any kind of way, the stuff you used to tolerate 10 years ago, you wouldn't tolerate now. Also, I'm sure, well, not necessarily, because I have people that watch my content of all ages, and I love all of y'all. Shout out to y'all. But if you are trying to step out of a friendship that has been a long-term friendship for you, chances are you connected with this person when you were in your teens, your 20s, even your early 30s, when you were younger, when you were still figuring out life, when you were still navigating life, because I think we're going to be learning and navigating life forever. And even in your 40s and 50s, sometimes we connect with people because we're vulnerable. Sometimes we connect with people because we're in such a bad place. Like, every time we're around them, they bring us laughter and happiness and all kind of crazy stories and good fun energy, until we recognize, like, maybe I need a little bit more than that, or maybe that type of energy isn't necessarily what I thought it was. There's a plethora of reasons why we walk away from certain friendships, or why things don't serve us anymore. But a lot of times we step into these spaces and we put on the commitment ring of friendship for life, and it's not giving BFF. It's not giving best friends for life. It's not giving best friends forever. And we just say that, or we want that because that's what we desire. We want those long-lasting connections. But most of the people you meet in your life, platonically anyway, they're going to be in and out of your life. And to be honest, romance as well. We have one life partner. That's the great thing about life. And this is what I believe. You might not believe in life partners or soulmates or whatever. But anybody that ever mentions a soulmate or whatever, there's always one life partner. One life partner. It's not life partners. It's soulmates with an S. But one life partner. One life partner. So that tells me that we're meant to have a lot of different connections, but there's only one real connection that's going to carry you through every lifetime. We only have one of those. So we don't have to approach every friendship like this is going to be my person until death. Instead, we should just enjoy them for how long we can enjoy them. And if there ever is a chance where we outgrow each other, we can walk away happily, knowing that we served our purpose in each other's lives, grieving and mourning those memories. But we can walk away without feeling like, what did I do? What did they do? Sometimes connections just end. And more often than not, this wasn't supposed to be in your life forever. And it might seem like a long time to have a 10 or 20-year friendship, but what if you live 80 years? That really don't mean a lot. That's only a fourth of your life. You have 3/4 of your life where you had a whole bunch of happiness and great years without that person, Or if you, end up connecting with someone right after that friendship that ends up being who you need to be forever. Like, we just need to stop focusing on the past. Don't focus too much on the past. Like, if anything, when you're reflecting on past relationships, reflect on it from a space of grace, patience, forgiveness. Don't seek to figure out what was wrong with this person or what was wrong with you. Sometimes there's something that's wrong with the bond. There's always something that's wrong with the connection. Because if you're looking for apples and somebody has oranges, no matter how much they try to paint the apples orange, or how much they try to paint the oranges, whatever, it's not going to be the different fruit. Like, you can't dress up with somebody wants like as something else. You can't show someone, hey, I'm giving you this, if that's not what they want. And not eventually, because it's not going to happen in all friendships, but most of the time, a lot of these connections we make are supposed to serve a specific purpose in our lives. Some connections we just get into to show us that we can't leave connections that are long-standing. Sometimes we just need to recognize that we can leave someone that's known us for 10 years, and be okay with it. Sometimes we meet somebody just so we can leave them and deal with the process of release. Sometimes we meet someone to help them through a grieving period. Like, let's say, for example, and this is another thing too, guys. I wasn't even thinking about this before I started this, but this is another thing. Think about when you meet those friends, and as soon as y'all meet, y'all both go through so much stuff in life. They break up with their person. You break up with your person. Both of y'all move. Y'all jobs got crazy stuff. Like, it's so much going on in both of y'all's lives. But y'all are able to talk about it more than ever. You're able to vent more than ever. You're able to be more vulnerable more than ever. And let's just say you guys decide to never speak again. It's not no beef. It might not be a problem. But you guys needed to serve each other for that specific period in time. And now that you guys are both in a space where you don't need that energy, you can move forward. I have so many friends that I've made in my life where we were literally best friends together every day, all day, venting, talking, sharing, spilling tea, getting into everything. You at my house, I'm with your people. We real cool for a couple months or a couple years. And then things just fizzle and you never speak again. And it's still cool to this day. It's never an argument, never a problem. We just had like those whirlwind romances. I've had a lot of whirlwind friendships where we just meet and we're just like this. And, these friendships help me learn different things about myself. And they show me different things about myself. And we have companions for life on a soul level or on a spiritual level. Those friends where you always think, you know what, I don't ever know what happened to them, but I hope they're good. You'll think about them for the rest of your life. So sometimes it might be better to think about somebody in a positive light. Like, you know what, I hope this person is doing good. Sometimes it's better to let things fizzle and send someone well wishes forever than to hold on to something for years and years and years and think about someone from a place of spite forever. A lot of these connections we've been saw that we needed to leave, but we forgive and forgive because we don't want to be alone and because we're seeking that soul family. But your soul family is made up of a lot of different soulmates, connections, soul ties that are going to be coming in and out of your life as you're living. Your soul family is always going to be growing and evolving and changing and shifting. So there's going to be a lot of people that you meet where you guys are going to connect on a different level. And every connection isn't good. You could connect to someone where you're very, very insecure and they're very confident, and you might admire their confidence at first, and then you might lose your job and lose your relationship, and then your insecurity gets worse as their confidence stays the same, and eventually you might start resenting them. And that might be how you learn to, check yourself and make sure that you work on your self-esteem and your insecurity. That could be a sign to let you know, hey, if I have certain people in my life that are doing well, I need to let them uplift me. I need to be open with them about what I'm experiencing instead of looking at them from the side, giving them a side eye. We learn so much through our experiences with people. You guys know I always say that love is the greatest vehicle for change, and that is always going to be true because you change and evolve when you allow someone to have a direct impact on your life and on your feelings and on your heart when you trust them and when you allow them in and when you love them on any capacity, romance or whatever, but specifically friendships, because when we take in a friend, we're taking in a family member. We're taking somebody in that we want to do life with, but we don't own anybody. No one is supposed to be in our life forever. We only have one life partner. So stop putting all of your eggs or all of your needs, your emotional needs into these friendships. People are going to serve you in different ways. Let them serve you how they're going to serve you. You don't tell somebody, I'm so glad you came into my life. I've been needing this and this and this and this and this and this and this. That ain't nobody's business. The long list of what you've been needing. That's your business to figure out how you can serve those needs for yourself. And if you need to connect with other people that can remind you of those things or encourage you to step into different spaces, then great. But the friends in your life aren't supposed to do the work of your healing journey. It's not supposed to do the work of meditation and releasing. You're supposed to be doing that work. So don't see one friend or one person as the end all be all for you. Don't see one friend or one person as your ticket to healing, your ticket to a new life, because that is not the case. That's just not the case. That's very, very wrong. That is not the case. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to start off with that just so you guys can kind of understand, outgrowing friendships is normal. A lot of times we connect with people and we're not thinking of who we're going to be in 30 years. How could we know? How could you know who you're going to be in 5, 6, or 7, or 8 years? I think being able to just release it and realize that we only enjoy people for a season sometimes, most of the time, recognizing that and stepping into it with that mindset is always going to allow you to accept someone more openly. Because think about this too. The reason you get so mad at your friends and the reason that you want them to do this and this and this is because you want them to fulfill a certain role in your life. The same reason we have all this expectation for our partner. It's like, as a partner, I need you to do this and this and this because I need love, I need affection. If you're my partner, then you're supposed to be giving it to me. Just like in a friend, oh no, I need my friends to be this and this and this because as a friend, if this is what I need, then I need to be coming from you. That ain't right. That's not right. You have to be able to provide yourself with all of the things that you're looking for people to supplement within you. It's just about supplementing. And think about the people that you've had in your life where maybe y'all had a great time together, but they couldn't supplement shit. If you was feeling insecure, they could not lift you up. If you needed a word of encouragement, they didn't have nothing to say. If you needed some advice, they could not steer you in the right direction. You know, if you needed a reminder to keep going, they couldn't give it to you. If you needed somebody to pull you out of slump, they didn't have, oh well, they couldn't do nothing for you. You know, it's like our needs could sometimes change, and the frivolous, superficial things, the fun, the happiness, the peaks, the vibes, that might not be enough when real life happens. And sometimes it takes a while for real life to happen. And it also takes a while for us to require certain things of the people in our lives. And you are always bending your standards, whether you believe it or not. You know, we always bend our standards automatically, because if we didn't, we would not have any people in our life. We wouldn't be around anybody. So we also need to be aware too that a lot of the times, and that's also how we know that nobody belongs to us, because nobody in your life is going to be exactly who you want them to be. You'll never find a friend that's exactly who you want them to be. You'll never find anybody that's exactly who you want them to be, because no one is exactly here for you. Nobody's purpose here is to please you. Nobody's purpose here is to be a friend in your life. Now, we all have the purpose to connect with thousands of people probably in our lifetime. So it's not ever specifically about that one connection. It's bigger than us. It's bigger than that one connection, because you might disconnect with a friend, and in that disconnection, you might learn so much about yourself, how you love, how you grow, how you express yourself, how you hold on to grudges, how you release certain emotions. And that is a cornerstone for your foundation of self-love, self-worth, self-discipline, emotional responsibility, emotional intellect. And that leads to great relationships for the rest of your life. But you had to go through that. So sometimes these are just things that we need to go through. And again, it's not just about you. That friend that is in your life, they might need some things outside of you as well. You know, so we also have to allow humility to set in and recognize you may not be the best person for somebody. Maybe that friendship wasn't that good for them either. Maybe you've come to a point where the best thing for you to do is go through that pain separately and grieve each other and step into different spaces. Like I mentioned before in another video, the best thing for you isn't always going to feel good. Sometimes the best thing for you is going to be uncomfortable. We have to stop thinking that the best thing for us is supposed to feel good. And if it feels bad, if it makes us feel guilty or confused or whatever, then we're not supposed to do it. Give yourself some time to reflect, of course, but that doesn't always mean that it's something that's wrong, you know? So of course, losing friendships hurt, but it's not wrong, you know? And you have to ask yourself how serious you are about change and about growth. Everybody, a lot of people are here for a good time and not a long time, seriously. And what I mean by that is that everybody is not trying to be better. You know, there's a lot of people that are going to keep cheating until they can't cheat no more, keep lying until they can't lie no more, keep stealing, keep doing this, keep gossiping, keep hating, keep spewing lies. There's a lot of people that are going to keep doing the bad things for as long as they can, or they're going to keep doing it for the next 35. I mean, who knows when they're going to stop? And there's other people that convict themselves every day about every decision they make because they want to be the best person that they can be. The first person can turn into the second person in like a 24-hour span because of something that happens in their life. You know, I've been in situations where I've done stuff that I knew was wrong, but I didn't care. The risk wasn't that great. It wasn't that big a deal to me. Oh well, I'll deal with the repercussions after. I've also been in spaces where I had a chance to do something that was wrong. I was like, this is absolutely not worth it. I can't even think about this for too much. Let me get this out of my head immediately. You know? So I think we all allow ourselves to do different things. We all hold ourselves to a different standard. And just like I mentioned, we bend our standards on other people. It's because we bend our standards on ourselves as well. You don't make yourself go to the gym every day. You don't make yourself meditate every day. You don't make yourself go to church every Sunday. You don't make yourself do nothing. If you're an adult, you don't make yourself do anything. You do things because you're working to be disciplined or working to do this or working to do this. But if you wanted to stop all of that today, you could. If you wanted to stop everything, you could. We all have free will. We all have free will. We don't have to be better. We don't have to be anybody for anybody. We don't have to be someone's hero, someone's right-hand man, someone's most loyal confidant. We don't have to be that. So the people in your life might wake up, or you might wake up and decide You don't want to be someone's punching bag. You don't want to be someone's trauma dump person. You don't want to be someone's go-to friend whenever the other friends say no. You might decide that you don't want to be in that space that you've been in. You don't want to be in that role that you've been in, whatever that may mean. Whether that means that this person isn't into spirituality at all, they've completely stepped away from God, and the more you step into it, the more they laugh and joke and play and disrespect what you want to step into. That could be something that lets you see, okay, my needs are changing, my needs are evolving, what's happening here. Whether you're being very, very health conscious now because maybe you had a health scare and you want to make sure that the people in your life are being mindful about their health, and it gives you anxiety, so you don't want to be around people that are not taking care of themselves physically. That might be something that changed in you because of your health scare. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a wrong thing or a bad thing. Like, removing yourself from people because you don't serve each other anymore isn't a bad thing. In most cases, it's the best thing that you can do for somebody. Because what's the point of keeping people in your life when you can't serve them and they can't serve you? So your needs are always going to be changing. You're always going to be wanting new things and thinking of new things and needing different things from your connections or from your friendships. Don't take it out on you. Don't make it seem like you're a bad person, like you're a bad friend, like you're super judgy. And don't allow the other person to feel like that either. You know, strive to separate from connections if you can, in love and light and happiness, where you're both able to move forward and feel good that you outgrew each other in the best way possible. Outgrowing something is great. It might suck that you don't get to do that thing with that person, but imagine loving someone enough to where they move on from you and you're like, it's gonna hurt to see you go, but I'm so glad. Like, just like when you graduate from high school, or when you leave the nest, of your mom, your parents are sad to see you go. The teachers that loved you are sad to see you go, but they know that they prepared you for whatever is next. They know that they serve whatever is next. And that might seem too politically correct to feel like you have to have a conversation and be like, what we gonna do, friend? We can't be friends anymore, so we're just gonna be cordial and still support each other. I love you, you love me, have a great life. That might seem too politically correct or too over the top, And I remember having to have a conversation with a homegirl of mine, and I always refer to it as like a very love and hip hop, basketball wives, Real Housewives kind of conversation, because it's like you only see people linking up at lunch or brunch or dinner to talk about their beef on reality TV. So it seems kind of like, and not necessarily beef, but a lot of times we don't really have sit down face-to-face conversations about our differences. We say that for our romantic relationships, but in friendships, we don't always want to do that, So it's like, you kind of miss the opportunity to kind of shake on it and part ways in grace when you don't have that dialogue. So challenge yourself to maybe have that dialogue the next time you feel like you're separating from a friend. Also, it gives you an opportunity to really understand where they're coming from. You can have a friend that's dealing with grief, dealing with certain issues, recognizing things within themselves. Like, imagine the things that affect you all the time and you never let somebody else know, hey, this bothers me, but it can affect your interaction with them. And they're like, you okay? And you'll be like, yeah, I'm fine. And you never really get into it. A lot of our relationships are centered around that. And then I wonder how I lost my 12-year friendship, because you really weren't honest in 12 years. Or because there was always something underlying underneath the surface for 12 years. I think a lot of times we would be, like I mentioned, sometimes it's better off to separate from somebody early on and be able to send them well wishes and love and happiness for the rest of your life, rather than keeping something in your life because you don't want to speak up and they don't want to speak up, and you both just end up being like, F this person, I'm over them. It's like, it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be that. Overall, outgrowing long-term friendships is painful, it's confusing, it's frustrating. We don't understand how we could just get to this point, but it's most of the time, it's about it's like an individual thing that affects the collective, because you have to move on, they have to move on. You might need to realize or learn certain things within yourselves, Like for me, I lost a good amount of friendships, and I think I mentioned this before. I lost a good amount of friendships due to miscommunication. Where, maybe someone feels a certain way and they don't want to speak up about it. I recognize they feel a certain way because I can feel the vibes, but I don't want to speak up about it either because I'm like, hey, they don't want to feel weird, so they need to say something to me. Of course, maybe the person that I fell out with has to go on and learn, I need to speak up and say something when I'm mad. But I had to go on and learn to speak up whether I felt like it was my fault or not. Speak up whether I felt like I had a right to or not. Speak up whether I felt like somebody was mad at me or not. because no matter how you feel, I am worthy of vulnerability and transparency and honesty, even if you're mad at me. If not, especially if you're mad at me and you think I've crossed you. I'm worthy of you being open and honest with me, even in those moments, if not more so. So I had to recognize where I was allowing people to kind of emotionally abuse me, ice me out, not talk to me anymore, just cut me out of their life, completely ghost me, friends that I had had for years. I had to just accept that and go through that. But also I could have been spoke up for myself and said, hey, what's good? What's the problem? What's going on? And I've been in situations where I have said, hey, what's the issue? What's going on? And somebody didn't respond. But I felt a little bit better about that because I actually did speak up. I've been in situations where I've said, hey, what's good? What's going on? And the person responded and the situation wasn't resolved and we still had to move on, So it's not going to be perfect all the time, And relationships isn't about being perfect all the time. You're not a good partner because all of your relationships are good. You're a good partner because you know how to show up authentically and transparently in relationships. You're a good partner because you know how to take accountability, you know how to communicate, you know how to be honest. You're a good partner because you know how to give your friends space. You know how to communicate with them in a language they understand and respect. You respect their boundaries, you know what I'm saying? Those things make you a good partner, not just staying with someone forever and ever and ever. And I always say to people, when you're trying to decide if you should leave or should you stay in a relationship, don't think about the time and don't think about the love you have for them. Now, this is something that I figured out, I think maybe in like 2019. If you think about the love, you're always going to be fucked up because people can love you and still dog you out, treat you terribly. Somebody can love you so much that they take your life. Somebody can love you and want you so bad they take your life. And somebody might say, that ain't love. You don't know. They could have been taught that love is abuse. They could have been taught that if you love somebody, you do whatever you can to make sure they don't leave you. That could have been what they were taught. All we know about love is what we're taught. That's it. So somebody can love you, but it might not be in the way you need to be loved. So love does not matter. Love can also grow. Like you can meet someone tomorrow and love them like you've known them their entire life, So you don't want to focus on love. You don't want to focus on time because time means nothing. Just like I mentioned about love, you could meet someone tomorrow and they could be more loyal to you than the people that you've known your entire life. Seriously. You can meet someone tomorrow and because you guys have the same principle, they're going to rock with you. They're going to be loyal to you. They're going to support you no matter what. Let's say, for example, you have someone that you've been friends with for 10 years. This person never posts your business. They never support you on social media. And you meet someone at an event and they're a very, very supportive, vocal type of person. They're always posting people, even people that they know, people they don't know. They'll see a creative out and they'll be like, oh my God, you do this. This is your business. Let me post you. They're always showing love to people. So you'll meet that person and they'll immediately be shouting you out, supporting you. You'll be like, oh my God, this person is giving me what this person never gave me. It doesn't mean that they're better than them. It just means that they're serving your needs. So of course you're going to feel better with them because they are serving your needs. And the other person may not be. So you could ask them, hey, why don't you ever support me? Why don't you ever post me? Whatever is the problem. I mean, what's going on? That person maybe wanted to start a business forever ago and maybe it didn't work for them. So maybe they're proud of you, but maybe they haven't dealt with their own, grief enough, mourning the loss of what they thought they were going to be able to have. Things that we experience in life always affects us differently, and we have triggers all around us. Triggers all around us. If you've experienced infertility issues, every woman that is pregnant is going to be a trigger for you. If you experienced, possibly getting engaged and having a very traumatic ending to that engagement, every engagement announcement is going to trigger your fight or flight. If you've experienced a lot near-death experience, even let's say if you're severely allergic to something and you see somebody like doing a mukbang where they're eating a bunch of it, that might even trigger you because you're just thinking about what you would feel if you were even in that room. There's so many different things that trigger us and affect us, and they directly affect our actions. We act different ways because we're feeling different ways within ourselves. And when we aren't able to speak about it and be open about it, that's when things are able to just fester and fester and fester, and you recognize, wow, it's been 5 years and we haven't had an honest conversation about how we feel about each other because I've been playing it cool and you've been playing it cool, but we both haven't been getting what we need here. So I think communication is the best way to navigate any type of friendship that is coming to an end. Just communicate and be open. Don't make it about you. Make it about the connection. Make it about your needs, both of y'all's needs, and make it about what both of you are comfortable with providing in that moment. If you need to take some time away from somebody, I think that's the best way to figure out if you really need somebody in your life or not. Take time away from them. You're either feel really, really good or you feel really, really bad. If you feel really, really good, you have to ask yourself, well, why am I feeling so good? Was this person stressing me out? Were they bringing me this? Were they bringing me this? Were they bringing me this? And then you can ask yourself, well, what if this person comes back into my life and they don't stress me out? What if they've dealt with their issues and they're able to be a better friend to me? And then you have to decide if this person will have another window of opportunity for you. I don't think there's anything wrong with keeping the window of opportunity open. I think that it's important to be very clear about what that window of opportunity looks like, though. Like, you want to be very, very specific about how and when you allow someone to come back into your life. Because it's very, very easy for the same things to kind of repeat themselves over and over and over again, depending on how someone else might be healing or getting their life together, So you always want to give yourself an opportunity to speak about what you need and be open and vulnerable with the people in your life. But yeah, I think that outgrowing long-term friendships is something that we all experience. I would say it's really, really good to be able to take what you can from those experiences and learn what you can from those experiences. Because when you step into new connections, you want to be a better friend than what you were in the past. Like I said, even though certain situations weren't even my fault and I had certain friends that were just so fucking full of themselves and egotistical nutcases, I should have said something, because maybe I should have said, hey, you're being an egotistical nutcase. And maybe they would have been like, you know what? You're right. I'm being a nutcase because you did this. Let me redirect my response. Maybe you can redirect how you responded to me. It's all about how we respond to each other, how we trigger each other, and how those things kind of domino effect on top of each other. If you hurt me, there's a chance that there's something that I did to make you want to hurt me. There's a chance that you felt hurt by me. So even though you might be dead ass wrong, there might be something that I can do to be a better friend. Communicating when I recognize there's a problem. Speaking up when I recognize something isn't right, and saying, hey, I don't know if you're feeling good, but I'm not. So let's talk about this before this goes any further. Being open about, hey, if I offended you by this, this is what I meant. Not taking things personally, not feeling like, oh, well, if you didn't understand me, then that's too damn bad, Really showing up and putting the effort in. And sometimes that isn't enough. But you want to be able to know that you put the effort in. I always feel better knowing that I put the effort in my connections. And not only do I feel better, I feel like I can close a chapter instead of thinking like, oh my God, I wish I could say this. I wish I could say this. Because sometimes you won't get the chance to have that last conversation with somebody. Unfortunately, you might not ever speak to them again. So you do have to find that closure on your own. And I think a good way to do that is by asking yourself again, doing that reflection, but also by making better choices in the future, in your future relationships and connections. Making sure that you're not allowing the mistakes from the past to repeat themselves. Making sure that you're being open and bold and honest about how you're feeling on the day-to-day. And, just overall not feeling like your sole goal in any relationship is to keep it living for as long as possible. Sometimes the best thing that we can do to a relationship is to respectfully lay it to rest in love and peace and happiness. Like I mentioned, a lot of people are better off as friends. A lot of people are better off as social media friends or associates. Whatever space you have to put someone in your life, even if you have to separate from them and just root for them from a distance, even if they're sending you hate, you root for them, okay? You pray for those that despitefully use you, honey, because God is looking out for you, and you don't have to take vengeance against people that you fall out with. You don't have to see to it that everyone knows this person is a bad friend or whatever. We feel all different kind of ways when we step out of these long relationships. And I also have a best friend that I've known for 10 years, 10 plus years. So I don't think that, you can't have a long-term, friendship today. The friend that I've had the longest, my sister, who I feel is definitely my soulmate, seriously. We give each other space. We understand what each other needs on an emotional level. We understand and accept each other when we're at our best and when we're at our worst. We can let each other know when we're wrong, when we're right. We have really developed a relationship that is all about love. It's not about me getting what I want. It's not about her getting what she wants. It's about love and making sure that we both feel as much love as possible when we're with each other, and as long as we're in each other's lives. When we interact, we want it to be an interaction of love, Whether you feel a way or I feel a way, we want to make sure that we lead with love. And I think that doing everything in love, and in The Secret, the book that we're reading in the book club right now, in The Secret, they mention if you do everything in love, you get such a better result. So that can be something you do for the future. Connect with people based off of how bad you want to love them and how bad you know that they can love you in return. Don't connect with people because you want an aesthetically poppin' friend. Don't connect with people because you just need somebody to connect with because you just cut everybody off. Really take it seriously, the connections that you make, because there's so much that friendships are going to teach you. There's so many ways that a friendship is going to shape you. But it's just a part of life. Sometimes we do have to walk away from those friendships, but not all the time. I definitely think that it's possible to have connections that last a lifetime. I do think that, but it ain't gonna be all of them. The majority of them will not last a lifetime. Like outside of my husband and my best friend that I was just talking about, that's like my sister. If I end up connecting with other soulmates or other people that I get to do life with that I feel I have a soul connection with, then to God be the glory. I am grateful. But it's a blessing to have one person like that in your life. It's even a bigger blessing to have two. It's always such a gift when you connect to someone and your spirit matches up. So seek the connections where you will be spiritually fed by one another, because in those connections, even when your seasons of your life change, there could hopefully still be a way that you guys can be in that balance with one another. But again, like I mentioned, everybody's not trying to get better. Everybody's not trying to get their life together. So it's a lot of different things that people are going to have to do to show up for themselves, to wake up and smell the coffee, to dedicate themselves to healing and being a better person and friend and all of those other things. But again, that is not your business. Your only business is how you show up in friendships. So make sure you communicate. Make sure you're being open and honest about what you want and where you're headed. Make sure you focus on not the love and not the time, but how you guys pour into each other and the connection, what you guys offer to each other, and how you both elevate each other's lives. I hope that this is a year of connection for us. I hope that we all are able to connect with amazing, great people that elevate our lives, show us different things, and just keep us growing and, being the people that we want to be. I'm really, really excited for everything that we're going to continue to step into as we grow and as we evolve. I'm super, super excited. I know you guys are going to make some really, really great friends this year, and I'm excited to hear about it. So yes, guys, this was a little spiel about outgrowing long-term friendships, why we outgrow these long-term friendships, what are some ways to kind of combat those energies or make sure that if we do have to step out of a friendship, we can do it in love, and also some things to keep in mind when you're stepping into new connections. Do things differently, do things better, and as long as you're leading with love, you're always going to be able to connect with the people that you need to connect with. So yes, I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know how you guys feel about it down below in the comment section. If you want to book sessions with me, listen to the podcast, shop, book, whatever, check down below in the description box to get into it. I love y'all and appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys. Bless.